So in last lecture, we actually saw that we need to adopt a business mindset, a business which is dependent on customer. And as long as the solution which we are trying to do is customer centric, which is solving a problem customer is facing, then that probably has a much high chance of being a successful product. So that lecture didn't go into much detail about how we can do that. So let's take a look at this in this lecture. So we can compare how we are evaluating which problem to solve. We can compare that with finance. So let's say you are hiring a finance consultant and that person is recommending you three shares, three different companies. And it is you who is going to make a final choice about which one you want to actually pick. So one of the industry standard term to understand which one should be prioritized, the term is ROI. ROI is going, it means return on investment. So here, what we mean by investment, investment could be money, investment could be time, investment could be anything else. So what we do is, like, as long as I create a fraction of return divided by investment, I can actually objectively compare which investment gives me a better yield. So if some investment gives me, let's say, $120 out of 50, some investment gives me $170, but it needs 90. Some investment gives me 250 investment, but it only needs, let's say, 20. You see different investment, but when we calculate this fraction, we can have a uniform number which we can use to compare them with each other and then decide, oh, this investment leads to most returns. This is how we think about in finance. The exact same way we will think in data science. You see, in data science, this is similar to ROI. Okay. What is return? Return here is impact. So impact is very synonymous to returns. What is I? I is investment. Investment is nothing but resources which are needed for the solution. So every solution will be implemented by some resources, human resources or resources in terms of time, or it could require a lot of manpower to do some manual work. So this is the investment. Okay. And we are evaluating which problem should be prioritized by comparing ROI against these. So how does that look? Okay. So the framework is, we look at the problem, we look at the solution, and we don't do the solution, we evaluate what would be the impact of the solution if it were implemented. Okay. So in this case, there are a lot of examples which are very commonly occurring. If you are using Gmail or many other emails, even on LinkedIn or on Facebook, there is smart compose feature which has come. Then flight delay prediction. So if you go to websites to book flights, one of the extremely common problem we face is actually making a judgment call about the delta. I don't mean delta as an airline, but whenever we have connecting flights, how much is the time enough so that we are able to catch the next connecting flight? You see, there are flights which are generally get delayed very less. There are some flights which get delayed, on an average quite a lot. So if I keep the difference between two flights of 2 hours, and first flight gets delayed quite a lot, then this connection gap is not enough. So if we can intelligently predict how much a flight delay is going to be, then we can actually suggest to the user that don't take this flight. I have personally experienced that at Frankfurt airport, where when I kind of like landed, I had landed around 1 hour after my next flight had already taken off. So there was no chance of even making it possible. And then this gap, so airline had to already take tickets for every new user, and then that was this thing. So such problem, we evaluate problem, solution, impact for such problems. Then we have another problem which is like community moderation. Then we have problem like photo management. We will take a look at all of these examples in detail in its individual lecture. But now we understand, let's say there are 10, 20, 30 different problems. And how are we supposed to prioritize? And there is a natural instinct. You see, our natural instinct is kind of like this keyword, psychological keyword called as FOMO. Or if we go in terms of proverb, a bird in hand is better than two birds in bush. So what it says is a problem which we solve in a much effective manner. It is solving one problem well is better than solving 10 problems not so well. So FOMO, which is a psychological thing which we experience, it is called as fear of missing out. It means by what we psychologically think is by choosing just one, our mind feels I am potentially losing out on 9 other problems which are going to give me more returns. But if I don't give enough time for all of them, it is like going to a restaurant, ordering 10 items, and they give you all 10 food items, but all of them 1/10 cooked. Which one would you prefer? One dish which is fully cooked, or 10 dishes which are 1/10 cooked, but you get all of them? That is exactly what happens. When we solve more problems, the focus, the time, efforts, everything gets diluted. And that's why FOMO, which is an extremely common psychological thing, we actually have to actively work on it. It doesn't matter how many opportunities we miss. What matters is how effectively we take advantage of the opportunity we chose. Here I chose a word opportunity very intentionally. We take advantage of opportunity, not opportunities. And there is a game which explicitly mentions the difference between these two, the game which is baseball and cricket. So in mindset of cricket, a batsman, he is supposed to not focus on actually how fast he's getting runs. Okay, there are two things. You have to survive, like evolution, survival of fittest, or survival of species. You have to survive, means not get out. And you also have to score. If you are trying to score high but in that you actually get out, that's not the effective way. Okay, in cricket, in 50 overs or something, generally on an average 300 runs or 200 runs bare minimum scored. Okay, so cricket is a sport in which you have to actually maximize the net score. So many batsmen is actually prioritize scoring. So there are few batsmen who are quick hitters. They will get out in maybe 10 or 20 balls, but they will attempt to hit 6 on every ball. Now, baseball is a different game. In baseball, the runs, which are home runs or something, their number in each slot is actually quite less compared to cricket. So in baseball, it doesn't matter because no one is going to score 300 home runs. It's not possible to score that much home runs in a game. In baseball, the batsman, I don't know what, pitcher is the bowler, and batsman, I don't know what batsman is called in baseball, but that person is going to actually, he's waiting for a perfect ball on which he is going to hit a home run. The psychology in baseball is not to take advantage of every ball. It is to wait for the perfect ball and utilize that ball perfectly. Let me repeat. In baseball, the psychology is wait for the perfect ball and utilize that perfectly, both the things. Now, it is very different from cricket. In data science and in most of the project development, the mindset of a developer should not be like a cricket batsman. It should be like a baseball batsman. The mindset is find the perfect project and utilize it perfectly by putting everything you got into that project which you have prioritized. So this is the mindset we should have. And by following this mindset, we actually will take a look at all four of example one by one in next lectures.